winter is over. The 2012 FIA World Touring Car Championship has begun. We're at rounds 1 and 2, double race weekend as ever. We're at Monza in Italy. The home of the Italian Grand Prix has been a happy hunting ground in the last couple of seasons for Chevrolet. But will they be able to triumph again? The champion team and champion driver return with Chevrolet and Ivan Muller. Well, hello everybody, welcome. It's Sunday lunchtime, it is 1 o'clock here. FIA President Jean Todt, President of the Touring Car Commission Alan Gow, and Marcello Lotti on the left-hand side, President of KSO that organises the World Touring Car Championship. Up overhead the Red Baron, and down on the grid the cars are starting to form up. Big Hungarian support here again for Norbert Michelis. His teammate starts on the back of the grid, Gabor Weber, after an engine change. We'll get through all the news and all the updates in just a moment. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me is British Touring Car Champion Matt Neal. And Matt, you've raced here before at Monza. It's a glorious place to come to when the weather's good like this.
It's, as you say, it's round 1 of the championship, but then for round 1 they've brought us to probably one of the fastest circuits on the calendar. So it's right in at the deep end for these boys, and it's right in the deep end for Gabriele Tarquini, our pole sitter. So he's drafting is going to be absolutely paramount on these long straights, and he's there and he's out on his own as the lone Seat up the front, and he's got a whole gang of Chevrolets all behind him, who, if they work together, can properly beat him up on the first few laps.
Well, Gabriele Tarquini claimed pole position yesterday. It was really a virtuoso performance in qualifying. He wasn't on his own, but he wasn't in a queue of teammates in the Seat team. He was basically stealing the draft from the Chevrolets, who are towing each other around in front of him. And a canny bit of speed from the Italian. He showed more speed as well on the lap after he set pole position. He was up in the first 2 segments before he aborted the lap and headed into the pit lane at the end of the qualifying period. But he starts on pole position. First time in over 12 months that the Chevrolets have not been on pole. And Giancarlo Bruni, his engineer, having to take the decision to change engines overnight, and that was done without penalty. Now, because the 1.6 turbo in the car this year is a brand new power unit, for the first 3 races you're allowed to change without penalty. Gabor Weber also changed an engine, but because his BMW engine is a proven power unit that raced last year, he does receive the back of the grid drop. Well, Tarquini in qualifying using the slipstream, and Matt having a massive moment or two because the car's so loose in the Ascari chicane. At the end of his lap, he had a big moment going into the parabolica under braking as well, which probably cost him a couple of tenths. So this car's got a lot of potential, perhaps even more than it's shown.
Giancarlo, the team manager there, you can see the look on his face, and it was a real one for the underdogs. I mean, the Chevy boys, you want them to do well, but it is nice to see Gabriele up there. But Ascari, as you say, it's the 3rd of the 3 chicanes, but it is also the fastest, and Gabriele showed massive commitment through there. And you know, I just love to watch his in-car camera all race, because he is committed, and the best thing is he's a fighter. So these Chevy boys are going to get past him. He's going to make them work for it.
Well, here's our grid. Tarquini on pole, Muller, Huff and Menu, the 3 factory RML run Chevrolets. But it's not just 3 blue cars behind. There's a 4th Chevrolet Cruze, all blue as well. Lining up 5th on the grid is Rickard Rydell, run by Chevrolet Sweden. Now, this is a one-off race at the moment. Tom Coronel is 6th, the best of the BMWs. Pepe Oriola in 7th is the best of the independents, ahead of Alex McDowell in a Bamboo Engineering Chevy. Alexei Dudicalo 9th, Norbert Michelis 10th. They'll be the front row men in race 2. Michelis on pole, Dudicalo in 2nd place, because the top 10 on the race 1 grid are reversed for the race 2 grid. 2 Fords side by side now, with the penalty for Gabor Weber. Nash and Chilton, James Nash and Tom Chilton. First outing for Arena Motorsport and those Ford Focuses. Brand new car, never been raced. They've raced Focuses in the UK with 2 different engines, neither of which they're using here, and with a different body shell that they're not using here. So their setup sheet is a white piece of A4 paper marked Monza at the top, and underneath no information whatsoever.
I think that's going to be a bit of a story for that whole year, Martin. You know, that every circuit they're going to come to is a test day, you know, trying to build for next year.
Well, they are out intent on finishing in the points as well here in Monza. Look at that. It is a beautiful sunny lunchtime here, early spring sunshine. When you're in the sun, it is gorgeous and warm. Those grid girls are not cold. When you get in the shadows and when the sun dips at about 4 o'clock, it gets pretty chilly, and that's the way it'll be for race 2. But for race 1, it is absolutely beautiful. Looking here inside the Team Aon Ford Focus of Tom Chilton.
Chile got a new aggressive helmet design there he's not seen before, so it's a WTCC debut.
Yeah, all sorts of new things here. Last time Tom Chilton raced around here was in an LMP sports car, so the setup knowledge from that is absolutely none. He knows which way the corners go in. Apart from that, nothing else. And their test in Valencia, really little more than a shakedown. This is the first time the cars have properly been run in anger. James Nash also with a new helmet. The greyhound on his helmet is the Nash family symbol. And Nash, former independent trophy winner in the British Touring Car Champion. We got the last 2 years winners. Alex McDowell is here as well. He's racing in a Chevy a little further up the grid. Franz Engsler brings his team back again. New teammate in the Liqui Engsler team in the form of Hong Kong Chinese driver Charlie New. But Franz Engsler, oh, he's skived off. He's decided, obviously, being the oldest man on the grid, that perhaps he needs a little bit of a rest first. Well, Engsler running cars here and in the European Touring Car Cup, which is running this weekend as well. You'll be able to see the highlights of those races, in fact all those races, midweek on Eurosport. Stefano D'Aste returns. D'Aste running car number 26. He has always raced as car number 26 in the World Touring Car Championship, whether he's been with Pro Team or Vickers Sport or Pro Team, or as he is now again back with Vickers Sport. And one of a number of drivers who's remained faithful to exactly the same number all the way through. Norbert Michelis, really sensational performance last year with this BMW. He started his touring car career the year before in a Seat, converting to the rear drive BMW with all the power delivery finesse of a light switch last year. Car's not much changed either. Having a little nap before it all gets underway. Just getting himself a bit focused.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, he's got a Hungarian teammate with him, Weber, this year. And so far this week, there's been absolutely, you could throw a blanket over the pair of them. Whether it be in free practice, they've worked together as a good pair in qualifying, and literally in warm-up this morning they were in situ, one behind each other, using the draft, working together, and it was a great little bit of teamwork we saw.
Alexei Dudicalo, a couple of weeks ago, finished off the Russian Ice Racing Championship as champion, and he is on the grid in 10th place.
Big Chief's having a powwow there.
Well, you didn't spot, but we saw a certain Italian former Benetton, Renault and other team owner watching from the grandstands. Flavio Briatore is here. He was watching watching the start of the AutoGP race. So Flav is here as well. And so we've got two former Formula One team bosses. Of course, Jean Todt down there, the president of the FIA, here promoting the road safety message. Pepe Oriola, another of our teenage drivers. We've got each end of the spectrum here. You know, we've got a 16-year-old, no, now 17-year-old Pepe Oriola. We've got two drivers, 50 and 51. Gabriele Tarquini, the second oldest man on the grid, is on pole position.
They could actually be his grandfather, I think.
Yeah, no, literally, yes, absolutely. So, you know, we've got the whole spectrum here, which shows if you're a young driver, a young racing driver, and you start out in single-seaters and you start to find that the path is a little bit blocked, have a look at other ways of going racing. Touring car racing, sports car racing, you can make a long career of it. Tom Coronel, just down below us in row 3 of the grid, in 6th position after qualifying, best of the BMWs. Alex McDowell lines up behind him, and alongside Coronel, it's 2x2 on the rolling start, Ricard Rydell. Well, Rydell and Chevrolet have only been partners once before in a World Touring Car race, and that didn't go particularly as the team had expected it might. Perhaps we'll just draw a discreet veil over that and hope that Ricard minds his P's and Q's, and most of all, the 3 blue cars in front of him, because the factory Chevrolets will not take kindly this time out to being eased out of the way or nudged off or any contact whatsoever from an independent Chevrolet who was only here for one race.
I think you're right there. there, Martin, but I do think when they get out there, there's no love lost. They all work as a team, but there's no love lost between the three main Chevy contenders. You know, they're going to fight hard and fast. They're going to use each other. You might see throughout the race allegiances changing. So they'll try and work with one to get one over and the other one drop the other one, and then they'll have a fight between themselves. So it's a bit of it's going to be a bit of a case of every man for himself at points, and who can make the allies and who can block the others out.
Well, of the top 5 men on the grid, only one, the car you're looking at of Rob Huff, has not been a British Touring Car champion. Ricard Rydell won for Volvo. Alain Menu, car number 8, sits in 4th place on the grid. He won for Renault. Rob Huff raced in the British Touring Car Championship, but has not won it. And our front row starters, Ivan Muller for Vauxhall and Gabriele Tarquini, of course, for Alfa Romeo, have both also won the British Touring Car Championship. So add in you, we've got a couple of independent champions, which you, of course, were in your time. We've got getting on for a dozen British Touring Car titles here in Monza.
Don't forget old JC in the FIA office as well.
Well, exactly. I mean, and that's actually something we need to touch on before we get into action. For the first time ever in the World Touring Car Championship, following in the footsteps that were set in Formula 1, the World Championship has got a driver advisor in the stewards room. And you're absolutely right. It is former multiple British Touring Car champion John Cleland who will be casting the voice of wisdom on troubled waters, hopefully, if there are decisions to be made with regards not to the technical finer points, but to the driving and the sporting element of the races. There is our poleman, Gabriele Tarquini. As the grid girls clear the grid, we are getting ready to send them away on their formation lap, and it will be Tarquini in the Seat who leads from his 14th career pole. Big crowd sitting here in gorgeous sunshine in the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza, the Cathedral of Speed. 2 religions, I always say, here in Italy. One is the Roman Catholic Church, and of course the St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican City in Rome is their centre point. The other religion is speed, and predominantly Ferrari, and this is where the faithful come to worship. And with an Italian on pole, the pole shouts lasted for about 2.5 minutes from the circuit commentator yesterday. If Gabriele Tarquini goes on to win this race, Matt Neal, our circuit commentator will probably die of exhaustion from shouting.
He does. He could go into horse racing commentary, couldn't he? He's the way he holds his breath and everything. But just going back to the grid, this is probably, if you're on the front 2 rows, must be one of the most nerve-wracking places to sit waiting for the start, because it's such a long run down to that first corner and such a tight negotiation of that first corner. And it normally, 8 times out of 10, it kicks off there. And then if you do manage to get through the first corner in one piece, then you've got it for another 10 laps after that. So it's going to be a high pressure time for any in that front gaggle.
Just as well we've got champions on our front row then, isn't it? Gabriele Tarquini, Ivan Muller first and second. Tarquini the championship leader already. We haven't turned a wheel in a race yet. That's because the fastest 5 in the second period of qualifying, as well as locking out the 5 first grid spots, also get points. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's to try and encourage them not to aim for the middle of the 2 grids by aiming for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, something like that, but to try and shoot for pole so we get some excitement in qualifying. And boy, we got some excitement in qualifying. Well, if today's AutoGP race is anything to go by, we'll probably get a lot of excitement in this race as well. On board camera with Stefano D'Aste.
I think that was James Nash, actually.
Looked a little bit like it might have been.
Just adjusting the brake bias there. He's obviously finding it. They'll adjust that throughout the race. But the one good thing in the World Championship, which they don't have in the British Championship, is they're allowed tyre warmers, so they get the tyres right up to temperature, so they're properly on it from the word go.
But another thing that they're looking at in the World Touring Car Championship as well is having onboard cameras and data loggers purely for judicial reasons. We're using a VTEC system that logs the data, telemetry to real-time GPS, so you get time of day, and you can then compare and contrast what 2 drivers in an incident were doing with regard to on the brakes, on the throttle and so on. And that's another step forward. You know, you've got highly professional drivers, multiple champions, ex-Formula 1 drivers, highly professional teams. What you can't have is then amateur, you know, rules and amateur implication. What the FIA are trying to do with the World Touring Car Championship is bring every level up to the best that it can possibly be. But every element of judgment has got to be as sharp as the teams would like it to be, and they're making big steps forward in that every year. And you know, another step with a driver advising the stewards, and once you get the telltales in the cab, that's going to be a big step forward in helping them to decipher who did what to whom.
Yeah, it's a critical part for this now for Martin, for the drivers, because they've got to form up in their grid formation. They've got to be doing, when they get onto the start-finish straight, they've got to be doing a minimum and
80.
a maximum speed.
Yeah, 80 kilometers an hour is the minimum.
But they've got to make sure everything's up to temperature. They've got to get the brakes up to temperature. Operating temperature of the brakes will be between 800 and 1,000 degrees. So if they're not warm enough, they're not going to work. So the same goes for the tyres. So they'll be accelerating, braking. Now they're forming up, so they'll be getting ready for the start.
So they've got to be side by side, and the drivers must go through the grid markings on their side of the track as well. You can't be in the middle of the road. The Chevy Volt has pulled off that leads them round. Gabriele Tarquini will set the pace, but as you say, he'll know what revs he has to sit at to maintain the correct speed, and they must be in two straight lines. It's like a rugby line out. Nobody in the middle, please, or you will be waved by. Now the start line is quite close, the finish line is quite close, the start line further ahead, so you can't have any cars in the middle of the road. Here we go, we are ready for the first race of the 2012 FIA World Touring Car Championship. Already see a BMW of Stefano D'Aste weaving from side to side. Thiago Montero's out of line. Behind the first 4 or 5 rows, they are not in grid position. I don't think they're going to get the green. The reds have gone. Huff looks to the inside, Tarquini's covered that. He's on the white line all the way down into the first corner. If Muller goes around the nose, that's a very brave move indeed. Somehow he's got to shuffle in, either alongside or behind Tarquini, or try and survive. Gabriele controls the corner. He has the lead. Muller second. Menu runs into the back of him. Huff on the outside. And, around goes D'Aste, and somebody else on the nose of Norbert Michelis, who was hooked up on the corner and couldn't get out of the way. Thiago Montero's involved, and that's Engstler, the other BMW. And Muller's pushing already. Pushing Tarquini. Bumps him into Curva Grande. Tarquini drifts out wide. Muller's looking at the inside line, but that's the wrong line to attack under braking, and Tarquini will control it into the Roggia. Gabriele survived the first corner and controlled the first corner. Menu turns around the nose of Huff, and somehow they just about survive. On board with Rob Huff. He's trying to get inside Menu again, and Matt, this is shades of what happened to Menu and Muller last year, and Menu sideways into the last pole tyres, and he's off.
No, just he tried to close the door, but Menu was desperate because he knew if he let Huff through, Rydell was going to be straight through with him. So he was desperate to try and get that door shut, but he just couldn't make it work.
Well, it is Tarquini and Muller. Rydell is third. Coronel is fourth because Muller and Menu and Huff fell over each other. Oriola is fifth, top independent, and looking for fourth from Coronel as they come down into the Ascari for the first time. Rydell defending very hard indeed. Coronel's got the bit between his teeth. Goodness me. He's in good form here. Coronel really pushing hard.
Joking apart, Martin, this has leveled the playing field for Gabriele Tarquini, because suddenly Muller's lost his drafting buddies.
It's not 4-1, the Chevrolet versus Tarquini. It's now 1-1. Muller looks inside, and he's got him on the inside. One of the things that we've known about this Cruise chassis for the last couple of years is what phenomenal grip it produces turning into corners, and he just drives around the inside of Tarquini, who's now in the tow and has a great opportunity to come straight back at him. It's such a long run. Yeah,
Tarquini led him through into the parabolica, so he's obviously got some tactic, but there are other issues we've got to look for in the second half of the race, and both the Seat and the Chevrolet teams are absolutely marginal on their front tyre wear. Muller's outbraked himself.
Muller has outbraked himself. Tarquini gets through safely. Muller didn't gain a position and won't have to give it back, but he did gain ground and he slowed down. Don't show us Giancarlo, show us what's happened to Muller and Tarquini. Come on guys, Tarquini back in front, and Muller has dropped right back. That's not handing a position back. Muller's...
I think he lost momentum. He wanted to make sure he didn't get an advantage.
Oriola third now, the blue Seat, Rydell third.
That's Rydell.
So Muller does hand the position back, but he slows right down. Rydell third, Coronel fourth. Oriola is now down the order in seventh because Huff is up behind Coronel. In fact, he's not. The timing screen has changed again, so Oriola is in sixth position. Alexei Dudicalo is in seventh. The Ford's Chilton is in 11th ahead of Alain Menu.
Huff's on a charge here, Martin. We're going to see him moving up the order. He's going to be attacking Coronel within a lap.
James Nash has had a nightmare in the second for lap 1. He's 19th. Oh, and look at the front of Tom Chilton's car in the background. That's lost half of its nose. Muller leads, Tarquini second, and Coronel under pressure for 4th.
Hang on a minute, that's...
On board with Rob Huff, getting a run on Tom Coronel. Now let's see what the Chevrolet can do in a straight line. The Chevy's incidentally carrying 30 kilos of success ballast for the first 2 race weekends. Tarquini leads, Muller second, Rydell third. And if Huff comes up behind Rydell, will Ricard give him a podium spot? He's gone around the outside of Coronel.
40 kilos the Chevy's actually carrying.
Well, they're 40 kilos heavier. They've got 30 kilos of success ballast plus 10 kilos extra for some other reason that I can't quite remember. Oh, that's a Seat, and that is Barlacy and Benani.
Benani.
Yes, Barlacy and Benani. Oh dear, and that was we're trying to pass into the parabolica and one of us isn't giving enough room, and the cars come together further in the gravel trap. Coronel still hanging on in front of Oriola, and Dudicalo's having a great race. Then the orange and black car of Mikulits is in 8th place ahead of Alamenu 9th. Alberto Cecchi in 10th, a rookie, another newcomer.
Huffy's passed Coronel, Martin.
Yeah.
But the man on the move is Ricard Rydell, and he has put a monstrous lap time in the last time. So he's going to be feeling the aerodynamic draft from the back of Muller's car, and he's going to be pulling up behind him.
And then some. Fastest race lap for him, 1:59.1. Tarquini, the leader, 1:59.5 is the fastest he's done. Muller's not got below 2 minutes.
Yeah, but Muller's set the fastest front sector of this lap they're on now, so he's calmed himself down, refocused, and looks like he's getting the hammer down.
One of the
now.
things I saw from that start is that James Nash barely moved when everybody else got the power down. This is Huff going around the outside of Muller. That was okay. They all sort of shuffled into the first corner. On the curbs and the inside, Norbert Mikulis trying to stay out of trouble. That's where Chilton got turned around. That's where Chilton lost half his nose. Nash was a lot further back than that, and it was Thiago Montero with the other car involved there. Didn't spot that. And this is where it all goes wrong for Muller, for Menu and Huff, both skidding out wide out of the Lesmo. Well, Huff has recovered, and Coronel still holding off Oriola. Huff is 4th, Coronel 5th, Oriola 6th, but further back, Menu struggling to make much room, hasn't got by Norbert Mikulis for 8th yet.
Yeah, the problem Huffy's got now is he's got clear air in front of him before he can get up onto the pack, and the pack in front of him, or the group in front of him, will all be using each other to get extra speed down the straight. This could be a safety car. Isaac
Tutumlu looks like he's got an under-bonnet fire potentially. We've seen one of those already. He was in 13th place. Massive lock-up as Oriola goes around the nose of Coronel. Coronel stays on the track. Oriola doesn't. We'll have to hand that place back. And there is a fire under the bonnet of the BMW Pro Team driver, Isaac Tutumlu. And Coronel gets the place back. Oriola now with Dudicalo inside him. Matt, that's Alexei Dudicalo. It's like his twin brother has arrived this year. He's really transformed himself.
It's obviously that ice racing win, he's done it. So he's, but he is, as you say, every session he's been out there and he's been on fire. Didn't
start racing till he was in his 30s, Alexei Dudicalo, and so he only had 10 years experience, and started off as a club racer, and in the Seat Leon Eurocup, and Tarquini drifts out wide. The lead changes. It goes to Ivan Muller. Yellow flags are out. Did Ivan pass? There's no yellow in the previous corner that we can see.
Well, Ivan has responded because that lap, he set the fastest lap, but the guy who's on fastest front sector of all is Menu.
Yeah.
Back in 9th place.
And the previous lap, it was Rydell and Huff who were the quickest in the first 2 sectors, and they are now together. Muller with Tarquini, Rydell, Huff. That's the battle for second. Next battle behind, led by the BMW of Coronel. That's Tarquini again.
That's Dudicalo.
Oh, that's Dudicalo. And Menu off again in the Lesmo.
No, I think that's a repeat, isn't it? That's a repeat.
No.
Don't you think so?
No. That's not the first one, because Huff was involved in the first one and there was no Huff there. So that is Menu again, fastest in the first sector, but too quick through the Lesmos, and the back of the car stepping out. Safety car is out because of the fire for Tutumlu's car. Well, we said during qualifying, Matt, you were looking at the Chevrolet saying they look really uncomfortable. In fact, it's not burning. There is James Nash's car. Nash's car looking, well, I was going to say second hand. That's not even second hand. That's third hand, isn't it?
But surely, James, you want to bring it in and get it repaired for the second race.
Well, there is a degree of that. He's only 18th now. It can't change his grid position. He'll still stop in the top 10. Again, you know, these are things that we think about because we've seen lots of these races. It's not something that a British touring car team thinks about because they don't just have 10 minutes to get the car fixed. So you're absolutely right. Maybe now Arena need to be going, hang on a minute. They already said to the drivers, anything you break in race 1 will still be broken for race 2. So maybe you're right. They need to bring him in now and get it fixed. Well, let's have a look at this second big lose. The rear of the Chevy stepping out on Aluminium.
Oh, if there's oil
that's
down there.
Tutumulu's oil, of course it is. Yes, 3 cars out there. Is that McDowell? That was Alex McDowell in the red and white car. And that is Charlie New in the other Liquimoli Engsler BMW. Oh, it's not. It's Pasquale Di Sabatino, the other Bamboo Engineering Chevy. Everybody's turning in and suddenly, there's black ice down. The track is frozen there because of the oil. There's Di Sabatini, and just checking the road safety. Seen himself watching the telly on the telly. Safety car is out, so Isaac Tutumulu's car will have to be pulled to safety. And that means, and Thiago running back in after his car was damaged in the first corner. Applause from the crowd for him. And they're going to push the car across the road and then pull it back in on the left-hand side of our picture there, Matt, behind the wall. Because normally you don't get accidents on that part of the circuit, so there's no cranes or anything else to lift him out of the way. They don't want to push him too much further, are they? Are they going to push him all the way to Ascari? That's fine when you're going down the hill.
Yeah.
Do you want to push it back up under the banking? I don't.
It's not going to be an easy thing, is it?
No, now they're pushing it across the track. Do you know? Okay, there's another gap behind the barriers. There's Michael, runs the Aon team that are running these Fords.
Alan Cole next to him. Alan Cole's in trouble because it's his mother's birthday back home today. So,
oh dear. I think you're right. I think that they need to get on the horn to James Nash and say, okay, rub this race out, scratch it, doesn't matter. Get the car in, get a new spoiler on the front. Or maybe they're figuring, okay, you know, what's the worst that can happen? We're going to fit a new one. It's all quick fit fasteners. We'll do it in 10 minutes.
Maybe.
We'll just check some bodies at it. Yeah, I mean, we don't know how the things are fixed. So a bit of quick dry going down to mop up the oil. And there is Isaac Tutumulu. This is his World Touring Car Championship debut. He's not alone yet. Do you know, I should have counted up how many debutants we've got. Andrea Barlesi, he's in the gravel. Gabor Weber started from the back. Tutumulu is out. Chilton is a rookie. Alberto Cerchi is a rookie. James Nash is a rookie. Pasquale Di Sabatino. Alex McDowell. Charlie New isn't. He's raced before. So
Weber.
8, 9, yeah. 8, 9 new drivers in this field of 25 cars. That's quite impressive. And there are more drivers who are hoping to come back as well. I mean, Ricard Rydell's not a rookie in World Touring Car terms, and he's hoping to come back. But in the German commentary booth next to us, Freddie Bart, who raced in the Swiss team SEAT last year, he's hoping to make a return as well.
Well, the lights are still on the safety car.
Yep.
We can just see them. When the lights go out, that's the signal to the drivers and to the pits that the safety car will be coming in at the end of that lap.
And that'll go at the end of timing sector 2, which I think is after Ascari. Well, that's what happened to Andrea Barlesi, and like Thiago Montero, he's got a diesel engine in his SEAT, and Mehdi Benani, the Moroccan driver, again, he'll get a chance to race at home in Marrakesh.
He doesn't.
And safety car getting ready to come in, just looking again at Ivan Muller giving away the lead of the race earlier on. And on board with Gabriele Tarquini, looking back as he picked up the spot from Ivan Muller. Tarquini then in his turn lost the tail of his car Matt, is it something about a setup that they're exploring for Monza? Tail high, nose down to try?
Martin, just refresh my memory, because in Britain, if the safety car comes out up to a certain period of laps, those laps get added on.
Yes, we can have as many as 2 laps added to race distance, which is why the race distance is now going to click up to 12 laps at the end of this, I think. Oh no, it was 9, it's now 11, so we're now at the maximum laps. It will now go to 11 laps.
Yeah,
lights are off.
Yeah,
Timing sector 2 is in the, I think it's the split in between the second and third apexes of Ascari. So the Chevy Camaro safety car will accelerate away.
Now this is good, it's going to liven it up for us, because we got all the
Huff is back in
the main contenders bar menu at the front and ready to race again, so it's going to bunch them all up and give us some action.
Absolutely right. Top independent, Alexei Dudicalo from Pepe Oriola, Norbert Michaelis and Alex McDowell. Tom Chilton the best forward in 11th, and they are all nose to tail. Now, Ivan Muller gets the hammer down as he comes halfway through Parabolica and sprints away from Gabriele Tarquini. Tarquini can't match him for pace as they get away and get to the green flag again. Muller leads, Tarquini second, Rydell showing his nose, but he has to be careful because Huff is going to want to come by. Huff's making his move early. We're a little bit further back. And Huff trying to go around the outside of Tarquini.
He's going around the outside of Rydell.
Oh, he's not. There's not enough room. Tarquini has to jump the chicane, and so does Huff. So Muller will retake the lead, and Rydell will have to try and take the place back from Huff. That's difficult for Rob to try and engineer. Muller back in front of Tarquini.
I want to see how Tarquini gets on the back of Muller now, because how much can he fight? They've been having a few engine issues with those Seats as well, so we don't know how hard he can push with the engine and the tyre problems he got.
Absolutely. Don't forget, 2 years ago, Tarquini and Huff, first and second in race 1 at Monza, both had tyres explode on the last lap out of Ascari. And in race 2, Michel Nukia also had a tyre go when he was leading the race, a front left tyre. This is the one that takes all the punishment here. On board with Stefano D'Aste. D'Aste is in 13th spot, was behind Alain Menu. And has Menu vanished? Has he gone backwards? No, he's in front. He's got past Tom Chilton.
Back in 12th at the moment.
Yeah, well, he's past Chilton, so he's up to 11th. And Huff trying to retake or give back. No, he's giving back the place to Rydell, because he couldn't do it before because Ricard dropped too far back in the first chicane. So now Huff has given Rydell third place back. Tarquini gave Muller the lead. Muller back in front. Tarquini has handed it back once more. Rydell third, and now Huff will try again. Will he look inside into the Parabolica? Not quite got the speed this time.
He's in a good place now. If he can get a good run through the Parabolica and exit in there, he should be able to get a good draft off Rydell down the start-finish straight.
BMW battle for third in the Independence Trophy. The orange and black car, Norbert Michaelis right behind him. Rookie Alberto Cecchi. Alberto in the second of the Royal Motorsport BMWs. You're looking at teammate Tom Coronel there in the first of them, lying in 5th place.
Huffy's going to the outside.
Huffy's going early and in the grippy area on the brakes, but Rydell covers the corner and up goes. Great move. Coronel goes in front and takes the place back from Dudicalo, who tried to pass him around the outside under braking, and behind Cecchi has got Menu alongside. Look further back. I think Menu's got through. Huff has not yet. The white bottom half on the Chevy marks out Ricard Rydell. Coronel closing in on them from behind. Muller still leads, pulling away from Tarquini by a second. Well, again, Huff shows the nose. There's no question he wants to go by Rydell. Menu has not made it stick. Cecchi's BMW back in front. Menu's car looks like a very tail-happy puppy to me.
All these Chevys do this weekend. They look very, very skittish, especially off the curbs, and look really on a knife edge.
Huff is going for it to Ascari. He's got the racing line.
He's got the momentum.
He's got the pass. I think Rydell just breathed off the throttle a fraction to make sure there was nothing untoward there.
Don't you believe it?
I'm giving him the benefit.
Wouldn't give
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Huff third, Rydell fourth, Coronel's BMW, the best BM in fifth. And in sixth position in the second Lukoil Seat, Alexei Dudicalo tucked right in behind the red, white and blue BMW. Now he pulls out. He's the independent championship leader at the moment. And he goes straight around the outside of Coronel. Wow!
I think Dudicalo's fifth. I think that's the best he's run ever, isn't it?
I would have to say yes, very likely to be, except in a reverse grid race. Definitely on pace to improve up to fifth. That shows you, as much as Tarquini's performance with the engine, how good this new Seat 1.6 litre turbo is. It's the first time it's raced. They've got reliability issues with them braking, but it's got some grunt. You can't argue with that.
And Huffy's there. Is Hamzy closing on Tarquini?
Yeah, he's a second behind Tarquini, who's now a second and a half behind Muller. And of course for Huff, getting the moral advantage over Muller, even more importantly than Tarquini, is what he wants to do. And there again, independent battle, big group of cars behind Aluminiu, Daste, Di Sabatino, Charlie New. Oh, and McDowell. Ooh. Bouncing around over the curbs. Gabor Weber and Charlie New tangle. And that's 2 into 1, won't go at the Roger, and disappointingly for BMW, 2 BMWs out. And they were both battling with Franz Engstler for 15th spot. Muller leads then, red car's Tarquini, then Huff and Rydell, then the BMW Coronel, then Dudicalo now has dropped back. Oriola is the lead independent in that white and pale blue Seat. And here comes Alex McDowell, challenging and staying in front of Norbert Michaelis and trying to have a look at Dudicalo's Lukoil Seat at the same time. Matt, you can't just focus on one car here, can you? There's such a group of them together.
Well, especially when they get the draft on you and they get to the momentum at the straights, you've got to be looking every which way. But
Huff for seconds.
Oh, now he's through. It's like Tarquini's given that up.
Well, it's Tarquini struggling with that left front tyre. Don't forget, brand new engine, different power delivery, other things to sort out. It may just be that it's working the tyre a little more than they really want it to.
Unless, I'll tell you what, Gabrielli is a wily old fox. Unless he sees Huffy's got the speed, drop in behind him, and maybe they can both tow up to Muller.
Yeah, well, yeah, they could have both towed up to Muller.
Oh, look at that Chevy on the brakes.
They could have both towed up to Muller with Tarquini in front, because that would have made Tarquini a little quicker as well. But you're right, yes. He used the Chevrolets to help him to greater speed in qualifying. I'm sure he'd be just as happy to do it here. Pepe Oriola still leads the independence race, and this is what happened with Gabor Weber.
That could have gone horribly wrong there.
Well, you know, again, this is one of the things that the stewards will look at, and yeah, they just missed Franz Engstler. He nearly got caught up in that. And, you know, from John Clennon, he's going to have to look at a little glimpse of that and say, was it anybody's fault? Was it both their faults? And try and advise the stewards to a decision. I would say probably neither will get penalised for that. Good view on board with Stefano Daste, Matt, who know what it looks like to be sitting in that seat and looking through the windscreen. It's a bit of a hang-on track, it always seems to me, here at Monza. It's so fast in so many places.
And if you just don't, if you aren't 110% committed through a corner and use everything, you don't lose it in that corner. You lose it for the next half a kilometre up the next straight. So small amounts have massive consequences at this track.
Menu picks up the place from Alex McDowell. He now moves up into 8th place overall, Aluminiu, in the RML factory Chevrolet. And the Bamboo Engineering red and white car behind, that is an identical car. Same shells, same equipment, same aero package, same engine, same management, same suspension, just set up differently by a different team. It is identical in every way. The factory cars have no new bits that Bamboo don't. P1, 2 laps to go, 1.6 over Huff, not anymore, 0.9 over Huff. Huff has closed 7 tenths on the last lap, and part of that is because he and Tarquini are quicker together than Muller is on his own, and Huff is now almost picking up Muller's draft as well.
Yeah, we're almost 11 laps in, and Huffy's almost equalled the fastest lap of the race. So it's not unlike Formula 1, where they get quicker as their fuel load depletes because they have fresh tyres all the time.
Yeah.
In touring cars, you are wearing your tyres out. It's a big, heavy car, tyres half the width, cars double the weight of a Formula 1 car, so tyre degradation and looking after them, it means you are really hanging on at the end.
Alex McDowell, 9th place, 3rd of the independents. We're on the top 3 independent spots at the moment, only just behind the factory car of Aluminium and right in front of Norbert Michelis. Now, this is what McDowell's season is all about. The independent category, white and blue Seat leads Pepe Oriola, red and white Seat is second. That's Alexei Dudicalo, and Alex McDowell on his World Touring Car Championship debut. Dudicalo's pulled over, so McDowell now battling for second in the Indy's points.
No, backing for the lead.
No, because Oriola is a couple of cars in front of him. They've got Menu between them, but those are the guys from Sunred and Seat Sport, and Dudicalo has just pulled over, and I wonder if he, like Daryl Young and Gabriele Tarquini, is suffering with an engine problem. It looks as though it might well be.
Now, what Alex needs to do now is latch onto the back of Menu's car, and when Menu tries to have a go at Oriola, try and follow him through.
Tarquini has lost the toe. Huff is hounding Muller, and Tarquini is trying to hold off Rydell for a spot on the podium. This is lap 11 of 12.
He's going to struggle to do it.
1 to go. He's close enough to get the toe. It might be a last lap lunge into the parabolica.
He'll get a good toe up to the first chicane. So
yellow flags in sector 2, and that is between the first chicane and Ascari.
That's not what we wanted to see.
Actually, it's between the Roger and Ascari. It's through the Lesmos. So last lap, 0.7 of a second. Last lap for Muller, 1:59.3, Huff at 1:59.1. So Muller's stopped the rot, and Huff now is going to have to really work hard to win this. Tarquini still 3rd, ahead of Rydell. Coronel 5th. Oriola still leads the independents category in 6th, and Menu is 7th. That's not a bad recovery from 14th, where he was at one spot. Muller's going to pull out enough now to hold Huff off, isn't he? Because he's had the last 4 or 5 laps where he's not been working quite so hard.
Well, if he's been looking after his tyres, they are in identical cars, identical weights, so it's going to be difficult for Huffy now.
You don't need much of an advantage, just a smidge will do, and Michelis hops the curbs in front of Alberto Cecchi, the orange and black BMW, slow on the exit of the Roger. Cecchi right with him, Stefano D'Aste is right there. This is the battle now for 3rd in the Yokohama Independence Trophy. D'Aste, a former 2-time trophy winner in the Yokohama Independence category, right with Cecchi, the rookie, and Alex McDowell bounces over the curbs, and that's going to bring Norbert Michelis just a fraction closer to the Chevrolet driver. That's for 2nd place now. This is now a 4-car run down into Ascari for 2nd. Is D'Aste going to try something? Cecchi defends the blue nose of the Royal Motorsport car all over the curbs. A great chance for D'Aste to capitalise on the exit, Matt. And a massive slide from Engstler. Lock stops through Ascari from Engstler. It's not just the front-wheel drive cars that are running out of tyre.
That was some big commitment through there.
Muller is going to win this from Huff, Tarquini and Rydell, but the independence battle is well alive. McDowell defending a little on the entrance to the parabolica. Is going to be victory in race 1 for Ivan Muller, 2nd for Rob Huff, 3rd for Gabriele Tarquini, the poleman, 4th for Rydell, 5th for Coronel. Yokohama Trophy winner in 6th place is Pepe Oriola ahead of Menu. McDowell gets 2nd in the Indies on his debut. 3rd place in the independence category for Michelis ahead of Cecchi, D'Aste and Engstler, and Tom Chilton losing a spot on the last lap from 12th down to 13th. But the race win goes to Ivan Muller in the Chevrolet. And you saw the happy reaction as well from Chevrolet racing boss Eric Neve.
Yeah, Van's back to his old helmet design and back to his old winning ways again, isn't he? He doesn't...
Absolutely right. Well, confirmation then of the unofficial result. Ivan Muller, the race winner from Rob Huff. And there's Jazzy, Rob's girlfriend, on the podium, race 1. Gabriele Tarquini in 3rd. And Aluminium's Monza luck doesn't seem to be getting a lot better this year. I won't say at least he hasn't had a rub with the barriers. Tom Chilton 13th, James Nash 16th. In the two new Fords. And James Nash, they're going to have a long time to look at the car and plan exactly what to do, and a very short time to replace the front bumper on it between the two races. But that's another of the challenges that the new teams and new drivers will have to get used to in the 2012 World Touring Car Championship. Heading into the pit lane and to Parc Fermé. What happens now is that the teams are allowed to sit and look at the cars. They're just not allowed to touch them. Rob's mum, his sister and girlfriend are there to greet them. And Ivan Muller's daughter and his fiancée will be there as well. Ivan Muller, the race winner, leads the championship. 29 points for him. Rob Huff in second spot, Gabriele Tarquini in third position. So first of 24 races. It's not the beginning of the end. It's barely even the beginning of the beginning, Matt. We're just in the kind of shuffling down towards the boxing ring stage of the championship now.
I think we've just started exactly where we finished, Muller v Huff.
Yep.
And I think that's something we're going to see a fair bit more of this year. But
yeah,
you know, Huffy's going to take it like a man. You know, he'll get down there and he'll get up there and he'll smile. But you know, you can bet your bottom dollar he's going to be fighting his windmilling in at the next one.
I think you're right with the prediction. Muller versus Huff with Tarquini, the fly in the ointment. Who's going to get in there and snaffle whatever he can? Exactly as last year. And do you know what? If that Seat engine continues to produce this power, but with the reliability they're hoping for, boy, let's not count the old man out just because he's, you know, knocking on a bit. I think there's every opportunity that in his 50th year, Gabriele Tarquini could win another World Championship.
Well,
by no means certain the Chevrolet will be the fastest car by the end of the season.
Give Tarquini a good car. I'd be a brave man to bet against him.
Yeah, give him a half good car, he's going to take wins. Give him a good car, yeah, he could take the championship.
Mirko.
So Gabriele third place. I mean, they were just jubilant yesterday. The debut of this Orica-built 1.6 turbo engine, completely different from last year's 1.6 turbo engine in the Seats. And Pepe Oriola, independent race winner, first time of asking. Now, last year was his first in the championship. There's his dad. This year he returns. He's now a fully fledged 17-year-old World Touring Car driver.
You mean he can actually drive on the road now?
Well, no. Now, actually, he can open the champagne and drink some.
No, he can't. He's got to be 18, surely.
Oh, no, yeah, you might be right. Actually, he might have to hand the dad his champagne and then get the keys of the car to drive back to the airport.
Still on the apple ties, then.
You're right, on the apple ties. So, yes, his win, first time out. Good news indeed for him, and great for Alex McDowell, takes second as well. Now we don't, yes we do, we have Ben Constangiras down with Ivan Muller. Let's hear from him now.
Ivan, congratulations. Victory in race one, the best way to start the season.
For sure, best way, much better than last year. I hope now I will carry on for the rest of the year.
Not easy though.
No, not easy. You know, just to race to Monza is complicated. You have to find the right braking point, which I missed one. So,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, it took Ivan until race 9 of the championship, beg your pardon, race 8 of the championship last year in Budapest to actually win a race. And as he says, Monza last year, well, he was second and third. So, yeah, it wasn't that bad. And at least he didn't take any of his teammates out in this one. So it's, yeah, a good start to the season.
Well, yeah, Van had a rough start to the year last year, and that's when Huffy was on fire, and then sort of Muller came back in the second half, didn't he? So those two are going to be tied together the whole year, and I think Menu's going to be in there as well. He's had another rough ride today.
He's too good not to be, isn't he? He's just too good not to be. You know, in the end, form is temporary, and talent is you know, long-standing. And Menu he's in too good a team. He's in too good a car. He's too good a driver not to be a factor in a race winner. And a little bit further back as well, I think you could definitely argue the same about the Ford team, Team Aon. You know, they're very good engineering setup. They're just on day one of a brand new program in a brand new championship with precious little to go on. So they can only look at this as the first step in a long journey, and that's exactly how they've approached
Martin,
it.
when Chevrolet rolled up with RML, I think they were 4 seconds off the pace when they arrived with the first. Ford only qualifying 1.5 seconds back. I think he's a pretty impressive performance, you know, to come to Monza, which is such a big commitment circuit, and be that close in the running.
Well, the other thing is they didn't get real slipstreaming. In qualifying, Tom Chilton, who was the fastest of the two qualifiers, his engine wouldn't drop below 5,000 RPM even when he was on the brakes, so it was like revving its nuts off when he was trying to slow it down. So it was far from ideal, and as we talked about in qualifying, a good slipstream around here is worth minimum half a second, probably 3/4 of a second, and you assume that the front-running guys had that, so actually the gap 1.5 seconds, realistically probably closer to no more than a second at worst off the front-running pace. Sure, it's day one, sure they've got a lot to learn, but it's got to be a very encouraging weekend so far. And of course, once you get to racing, qualifying pace doesn't matter so much, because their race pace is likely to be very close to their qualifying pace. In the end, though, drama and excitement all the way through. There was barely a lap without lots to shout about. And it was victory number 1 of the season for Ivan Muller, the world's most successful touring car driver. Takes win number 22 of his World Touring Car career. And he now has 4 more than his closest rival, Rob Huff. And let's see if race 2 will change all that, where they will start towards the back of the top 10. We're heading out to 3rd spot on the podium, looking just a little deflated perhaps, is Gabriele Tarquini. I'm sure he hopes that he might be able to challenge for the race win. He certainly had the lead on a couple of occasions. Rob Huff takes 2nd spot. That's a very happy start to the season for Ivan Muller.
It's quite strange, the different psyche between the 3 on there. I mean, Tarquini will be happy. It's a debut for the new engine. It's a solid start, but not what he wanted after pole position. Huffy's going to be thinking it's early days. You know, it's going to be my time next time. And Muller's there with just the perfect start, and you know, long may it continue.
Pepe Oriola, the independent trophy winner. On the left is Justine Ivan's girlfriend. On the right, his daughter. And here's the national anthem of the winning driver, a winning team. So Marseillaise for our winning driver Ivan Muller, and the Star Spangled Banner for our winning constructor Chevrolet, French and American anthems. Trophy for 3rd place being presented to Gabriele Tarquini. That doesn't say 50 on it, does it? Really be taking the mick a little bit. No, it's a map of Monza, the whole 10-kilometer circuit. Trophy is presented by Peter Dobbelstein, Senior VP at Ansel, one of the sponsors of the weekend. 2nd place trophy goes to Rob Huff, and the winning trophy to Ivan Muller.
I look at those new Chevy seats, and I keep on thinking of Buck Rogers in the 25th century.
Actually, the faded white through to blue shirt that Ray Malek's got on, that's got a collar, but a lot of them have got colourless ones. They remind me of nothing so much as a racing cyclist. President of the FIA, Jean Todt, presents the manufacturer's trophy to Ray Malek, whose eponymous Ray Malek Limited team runs the Chevrolet team. There's Chevrolet racing boss Eric Neve. And now 17-year-old Pepe Oriola takes the Yokohama Independent Trophy victory and gets his presentation as well. Ray Oriola is still the youngest driver in the field, just 17 years of age. Fernando Monche will join the field in Valencia. He's racing in the European Touring Car Cup here. He's just 18, was 18 4 days ago. And we have a 19-year-old as well, Alberto Cerchi, the rookie, who finished in 4th place in the Yokohama Independence Trophy. Alex Medal second in the Yokohama Independence, and 8th place in his first race. He had a real sleeves up race as well, didn't he? You know, in it with Menu and all those guys that have been racing in these cars for 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons. That was dropped right in at the deep end. I thought he did a really great job.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously high pressure at the front of the field, but it's high pressure throughout the field. You, as we said earlier, they're looking every direction, and you've obviously got the other curveballs of cars getting into problems around you, oiled down. You've just got to avoid, but you've just. It's a big commitment circuit, Monza, and just getting to the end, looking after your engine, looking after your tyres, getting around the pace car scenario and keeping your brakes warm and all the rest of it. It sounded very quick and all compact, but there was a lot going on at the time.
And for McDowell, not only second in the independents, but he scored overall points as well. Here's our race winner.
Ivan Muller, congratulations. Victory in the first race of the season. Describe those early laps with Gabriele.
Yeah, I give him a lot of pressure immediately from the first lap, and then I could brake a bit later before Parabolica. And then because the toe, he carried on more speed than me, so I closed a bit the door, but I braked too late, stupidly. So I went straight on, but even if I was the leader, I didn't take the risk, I let him pass. And then fortunately he did his mistake, so I could take back the leadership. And then I just managed to look after the tires because I was worried.
The races are longer this year. How difficult is it going to be from starting so far back in race 2?
It was we had an issue with the tires, so we were not sure. So yeah, we have to look for the race 2 because I had a vibration for the last 3 or 4 laps. So I will make sure this doesn't happen for this race 2.
Good luck. Congratulations.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, Ben's point, previously the races were a maximum of 50 kilometres. Now the distance is between 50 and 60, and at a tyre critical circuit like this, that might have caused them a problem. No problems though for Muller, and Rob Huff was second.
Rob, congratulations. Second position in the first race this season, but you got very aggressive very early on with your teammate Alain.
I wouldn't say I got aggressive with my teammate. We were side by side, and obviously we're racing. So, we went into the first corner, the first chicane. He was on the outside of me, then the inside. I gave him room, and then going into the second corner, he was on the inside. I tried to brake as late as possible. He braked a bit later, and I tried to sort of just stay wide, but he ran long into the chicane, and that caused problems for both of us. Then going into WTCC1, I was on the inside, and we both obviously slid off with a bit of contact, but dropped to 6th, but the car was fantastic. The Chevy boys have done a fantastic job for us this weekend again. The car was great, and that allowed me to fight back, so very pleased.
Yeah, the safety car definitely gave you a little bit of an advantage to close the gap, but you got stuck behind Ricard, made a mistake. Do you think that cost you the opportunity to win?
Well, possibly, but Ivan had really strong pace as well. But yeah, going down into turn 1 again on the restart, side by side with Gabriele, with Ricard behind. Ricard just I think outbraked himself slightly, went into the back of Gabriele, and it resulted in me going across the chicane. And just to be safe, I gave the place back to Ricard and had a fight with him, but got past him eventually.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So Rob Huff finishing in second place, eventually squeezing by Gabriele Tarquini. The man who started the race on pole ended up on the podium in 3rd position.
Third position, Gabriele Tarquini. Is that a realistic result from what you expected?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, I was in pole position, but I had to finish the race in 3rd position. I mean, it was great because we work over the night, all mechanics and everything, changed the engine. This morning in warm-up, the engine doesn't work, so they changed some other parts, and in the end, it was almost a good car to drive, to fight with the Chevy. I mean, in the race, Chevy was faster than me. It was quite impossible to save my leading position.
It's the first time you've done a full race stint in the car, so how does it feel over those first 12 laps?
I found some other problem I never discovered because, I mean, before the first race I did maximum 4 consecutive laps, so it was quite new for me, but in the end it was quite good.
And hopes for race 2?
Yeah, unfortunately, with the new rules, I will start 10th on the grid with some BMW around me, but in the first corner, everything can happen. I mean.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Everything can indeed happen in the first corner. So that is the first of our 24 races this season over 5 continents. And Gabriele Tarquini started the year on pole. His 14th, the most poles ever, and the driver who's won more races than anyone in World Touring Car Championship racing ended up with another victory. Ivan Muller ending the day on the top step. Lots to think about. Don't forget, race 2 comes up later on this afternoon. Join us live for that. We'll see you then.